Did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Going on, you guys, we have Brian Tyler Cohen. He's calling out all of these right-wing influencers. They're all just putting on a show about these Epstein files, and Brian Tyler Cohen is calling it out. Let's get into it.
I've been waiting for it because it was teased for a long time, and that's because today's the day that Trump's Justice Department was releasing the long-awaited Epstein report. Finally, the Trump White House would restore accountability and expose those evil Democrats who'd got a long history with Epstein like this. Whoops. I'm sorry, my mistake. I meant like this. Damn it. Honestly, I'm really sorry about that. I meant to say like this. Okay, look, honestly, this is really embarrassing. The photos are clearly not working here. So instead, here's a video of the vile Democrats frequenting with this known predator.
Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president says now, he never liked Epstein.
Let's just skip the old footage and get right to the news. So the White House hosted a bunch of right-wing influencers, handing them binders that they said were the Epstein report, and then holding this photo op. And they posted photos like these online with influencers, one by one trotting out their little binders. Of course, it didn't exactly go over well that only a select few people got access to this apparently very privileged information, while the rest of the rubes in the base got nothing. And yet, these are the kind of comments that followed. Don't get me wrong, I like most of those in the photos. A few are friends of mine. Releasing the files like this so it's a little photo op? Cringe. Childish. Not at all how a list of sex abusers should be released. This should be a simple online post via the DOJ. Presto, done. Or how about this from Representative Luna, another right-winger?
And it's funny because usually the conservatives are always the ones who are wanting the truth to come out, or they're wanting to expose the liars, expose the betrayers, expose the child predators. That's like their whole MO. But, if it had been Epstein that had been hanging out with nothing but with Democrats, or maybe even, if he was affiliated with the Chinese, these lists would have came out a long time ago. All these documents would have been released as soon as this crap would have got started. There's a reason, why it's taken so long, and there's just such a fuss about it.
The task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents before release today. A New York Post story just revealed that the documents will simply be Epstein's phone book. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and is a complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for. Even Dave Portnoy was critical. If I'm going to be fair, these questions need to be asked today. Why is the release of the Epstein list always a shit show? And oh, it got worse, because some of the influencers made it very clear that they were just acting on orders from the White House. Take a look at these 2 posts, one from Chad Prather and one from DC Drano. And yes, that is the state of right-wing media these days. Today I met with President Trump, J.D. Vance, AG Pam Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel in the Oval Office. They handed me a binder, copy of the Epstein files. This is the most transparent administration in American history. The best part? This is just the start. AG Bondi confirmed there are thousands more Epstein file documents being secretly held in SDNY, and they will be delivered to the DOJ in DC by February 28th. People will be going to jail for what they've done. Wow. Tell you what, either these right-wing influencers are just very aligned in their innate messaging, or they're getting fed talking points from the higher-ups that they're dutifully regurgitating like good little foot soldiers. Anybody who thinks these people are capable of thinking for themselves or doing their own research, sorry to burst your bubble, but you're just talking to right-wing operatives who take their talking points from their handlers. Why? Because it's lucrative for them. Remember, the right-wing media ecosystem is flush with cash, but it relies on having dutiful mouthpieces. And I don't know how much more dutiful you can get than literally copying and pasting the talking points that they were given verbatim. But somehow it actually managed to get worse. The Republican House Judiciary Twitter account posted Epstein files released, and they posted a link. And when you click on the link, well, this is what you see. That's called getting rickrolled. Get it? The joke is that now that Republicans don't need their constituents' votes anymore, they are openly mocking the people who are expecting the Epstein files to actually.
And it's just a disgrace to see people, changing their stance on this issue. It's been a big issue for them for how long, and now they're changing their stance. They're wanting to, bring it up, but in a way that they know is never actually going to do anything. They're just saying, hey, is this weird, guys? But there's nothing, that they can do about it, while they just sit back and watch Pam Bondi, who was involved with Epstein's case in Florida, whenever some weird stuff was going on. And it's the same story. They are covering for whoever is actually behind the sex slavery and this trafficking issue.
Be released. This is what it looks like when a completely unaccountable political party basically spits in the face of its voters. And the worst part of all of this, the Trump White House didn't actually release anything that had not been released before. The Epstein files that these right-wing creators spent the day showing off have been available on the FBI website for years. And the information that was new, well, this is what that looked like. Not exactly the picture of transparency. And don't take my word for it, take the Attorney General's. Pam Bondi wrote the following letter to FBI Director Kash Patel. Dear Director Patel, before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how much information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the victims and in accordance with the law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel actions in 14 days. Yikes. Guess this White House isn't quite as transparent as they claim to be when they decided to release an already released report to a bunch of content creators who were told exactly what to say, ultimately necessitating the Attorney General writing a scathing letter to the FBI director. And look, is any of this surprising? Is the fact that Trump and his White House are giving everybody...
Exactly. Pam Bondi was the one who allowed Jeffrey Epstein to walk the earth unprosecuted, and he had all of his contacts sealed. So the reason why all of these contacts are sealed in the first place is because of Pam Bondi, the one who is just putting on a show, talking to Kash Patel, saying, you will have to release these documents, you blah, blah, blah. And it just doesn't make sense. Brian Tyler Cohen is calling out the fact that none of these stories are not adding up whatsoever.
The runaround in any way unexpected. I mean, my God, all you have to do is watch this before it becomes clear that maybe Trump has something else to hide.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
9/11? Yes. JFK? Absolutely. Epstein? Well, less so.
So there we have it, you guys. Brian Tyler Cohen is making it so apparent that there's obviously something that is still not going to get shown, that all of these files, quote unquote, it's just a ruse, it's just a show. The conservatives are still, covering their asses as far as that's concerned. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. It's another day in the progressive way.